What's up, guys? D'Angelo, Steve, Matt here with another HUNTwallet how-to. Today we're going to walk you guys through apps and tags, which is another feature that we feel has a ton of value, super excited about. It's actually one of the main reasons or primary reasons that HUNTwallet came to be. I'll share that with you guys here in a bit. How this is going to work today is we're going to give you a high-level overview of everything that apps and tags has to offer, and then from there we will drill down into the individual features within apps and tags. So I told you I had a story for you guys. So I've been hunting for 7 years now. This will be my 7th season coming up. I've only hunted I've only hunted in Colorado. No, that's a lie. I hunted in Wyoming this year. But prior to 2020, I'd only applied to Colorado.
That's a lie too, because you hunted in South Dakota as well.
Yeah, very much so. Yep. See, that's why we have a wallet. But so it was my first time applying to an out-of-state big game tag in 2020. I'd seen all these big bulls being killed on these Go Hunt videos and Randy Newberg videos. It's like, man, I need to figure out how I can get to Arizona and get out there and chase some bulls in Arizona. So finally took the plunge, investigated the process, decided to apply for a preference point as well as I swung for the fences on I want to say it was an early season rifle bull tag that I knew I wasn't going to get, but just decided to put in for it anyways. In that process, I quickly acquired a new login for a state wildlife website, and I had preference points for a different species outside of the state that I've typically apply for, and I had paper receipts. Now, I could have took the Steve Jewes approach and taken those paper receipts and put them in a folder and filed them away, but decided not to do that. I could have put all of this information in the spreadsheet and kept it organized, but decided, hey, I work in spreadsheets every day. This is 2020. There's got to be a more eloquent way to keep all of this information organized rather than putting it in a spreadsheet or filing it in a cabinet. That's a long, drawn-out explanation of some of the benefits that I see with apps and tags and what they have to offer. I don't know if you guys have anything additional to add to that or not.
Yeah, one of the features that I like to use the most is just the apps, your total app fees and your total tag fees, and just being able to track that with all your out-of-state hunts. So if you have a budget to say like $5,000 and you have 8 states that you want to hunt, how do you start chipping away with that with out-of-state fees? And then what does that look like? How many hunts survive? What will you be able to go on and be able to track it and kind of get, those different bucket list item hunts checked off the list?
Yeah, for myself, in addition to both of those, I always find it super helpful when I have my hunt code and or my units readily accessible. And so when we're talking hunting, multiple species, multiple seasons, multiple methods of take, potentially multiple states, and you're doing that typically with different groups. I'll hunt with these guys, and then on another hunt I'll hunt with some other folks, and invariably we're always asking, what was that unit that we were looking to hunt or that we're applying for, or what was like in Colorado, what's the hunt code for that? And that information exists out there. It's in brochures. It could be written down. It could be kept in spreadsheets, text messages, notes, all that kind of stuff. But for my purposes, it's just infinitely easier when it's all within the app and it's all organized within each individual hunt and then each application that I think I'm going to apply for.
Yep. So, tons of benefits. You heard from Matt, having everything in one place and being able to quickly recall on those, the hunt unit or the hunt code, the unit you're going to be hunting. Steve, ironically, his wife is a CPA, so he talked about the budgetary aspects, and then myself just keeping everything in one place and just having it a little more accessible than a folder in a file or a spreadsheet. All right, so bird's eye view of apps and tags. So what we're looking at is the home screen on the apps and tags. You'll see that you have up top, you have total application fees and total point fees. This is just based on what you input, and we'll walk you through that in more detail here in a bit. But just highlighting what Steve talked about, being able to track your application and tag fees. You also have the ability to quickly search your applications and tags. You have the ability to filter by A to Z, Z to A, and oldest first and newest first. And then you'll see the tiles, which is something that's been consistent across the app, whether that's in gear, hunts, tasks, but you'll see the tiles, and it lays out some very, very relevant information as it relates to the application or tag that you've applied to. And then you'll see near the bottom of the screen, you'll have the plus icon, which allows you to go ahead and add a new application or tag. So before we go ahead and tap the plus icon, I want to walk you through the application and tag tiles. So the application and tag tiles, the information that you'll be presented with. So up top, you have the title or the nickname. This is something that you or ourselves as the individual user designates. So you'll see mine says Colorado Elk Preference Point, Colorado Elk Preference Point, and it also has the species under that. So you'll designate that, and then you'll also see that you have the ability to designate whether the application has been submitted, whether the app's been secured, so whether you've drawn it or not, and then whether the app's been purchased. So almost all of the information, you have a direct input in the information that you see on these individual hunt tiles. If you look at the one off to the right, you'll see that there's some dates on there, and we'll walk you through why those dates are on there as well. So going through adding a application or tag, so you go ahead and tap that plus icon, you'll be presented with a screen. You'll have the ability to either designate this as a preference or bonus point, or go through just a regular draw application tag process. You don't even have to do a draw either. So for our purposes, we'll go through, let's go through a preference point flow. So we'll tap preference point, and then we'll tap the drop down on state, tap Colorado, select the species, we'll tap elk, bless you.
Thank you.
We'll tap next. You'll be presented with a new screen. You'll have the ability to input when the application is due. You'll have the ability to designate when the draw results date is, and then as well as the application payment due date. So you don't have to input these dates. They're not required, but the benefit or why you'd want to input these dates are we send out push notifications based on the dates that you input. The push notifications typically come 1 day or 6 days prior to the application due date, and 1 day prior to the application due date, as well as the payment due date. And then draw results, you get a notification the day of, based on the dates that you've input. So again, you don't have to put those in there, but highly, highly, highly recommend you put those in there to get the most out of HUNTwallet and apps and tags. So we'll go ahead and just input something in there. 12/10 as the application due date. 12/17 as the draw results date. Super quick turnaround. Not a lot of anticipation. instant gratification. We love it. And then application payment due date we'll put as the 10th as well. So go ahead and tap next. You'll be presented with another screen. So I want to address the elephant in the room here. There is a lot of data entry, just like building your gear locker, just like building a hunt. But like we've shared in the previous videos, the more upfront we can be with inputting this information, the more organized and the more powerful HUNTwallet begins to be for you as a resource as it relates to planning and organizing your hunting affairs.
Yeah, I mean, I think really very similar to just hunting in general. The more you put in, the more you get out.
Correct.
And you don't need to enter all that all the time. Sometimes it may make sense to just quickly whip one up. But for the most part, getting all that information in there really turns us into the most powerful version of the tool that it is.
For sure, 100%. All right, so once you've tapped confirm on the previous screen, you'll be brought to this screen here, which is adding the apps and tags details. So you have the ability to input the lovely hunt code for most Western hunters. You are required to input the nickname. How I go about inputting the nickname, or the format that I go about, or the format that I typically use, is I input the state, I input the method of take, and then I input the species, which is very similar to kind of how we do it with hunts as well. So for this, we'll do color. This is a preference point actually. So we'll do state, species, and then I'll just put PP to designate preference point. You have the ability to designate whether the point has been drawn or not. So you tap the drop down there. You have the ability to designate whether the point has been purchased just by selecting on the drop down. Steve talked about being able to track the application and the fees associated with the tags, points, and applications that you put in, so you can input that information there. So we'll go ahead and put $10 there and $10 there. I love this state. Super inexpensive to apply for points and then you also have the ability to designate whether the application has been submitted. Once you input all that, once you've input the information on this screen, this is the last one, you go ahead and tap confirm, and then you'll be presented with a pop-up to let you know that it was successful. Go ahead and hit close, and you'll see that we have Colorado elk PP down at the bottom. We could also search that PP. It'll bring up all of your tags or applications that are designated as, or mostly your applications that are designated as PP. So looking at the tile here, you'll notice that it will tell you the application has not been submitted, which is what we basically designated it in this previous screen. Tell you that it hasn't been secured, tell you that it hasn't been purchased. If you were to go in and update those to yes, any of those to yes, then they would show as yes on your tile. So again, some manual work, but it goes to helping make things a lot more organized, streamlined, and help you get the most out of the tool. Another thing worth noting is the total application fees has increased, as well as the total tag and point fees have increased as well. All right, so we've just walked you through the preference point flow. Now we'll walk you through a regular apps and tags flow. And the reason we did these, the reason these are different is because ultimately there is a price associated or cost associated with preference points, but there isn't necessarily a tag or license that you get
to guarantee
correct
for it.
Correct. So we'll go through this process again, just not out. We'll go through the non-preference point, bonus point flow. So we'll stick with Colorado. We'll select moose this time, once in a lifetime hunt. We'll do male. We'll select method of take, which you'll see the difference here on these screens you're gonna see you have the ability to input the sex as well as the method of take. So we'll do male, archery, and then tap next. Upon tapping next, you'll see that you have a few more options as it relates to information to input on this screen. The main information that's different is going to be season dates. So you have the ability to input your season dates. The season dates are going to show on the app or tag tile. And you'll also notice that the dates on here are not, they're not required, but again, can't reiterate this enough. To get the most out of what HUNTwallet has to offer, highly recommend we input the dates. So for illustration purposes, I'm just going to input the season dates. So we'll say December 15th through the 20th. Go ahead and tap next. So you do have the ability to sometimes seasons, there's multiple, how do I say this? Multiple.
It's like multiple times you can be in the field.
Multiple times you can be in the field. Thanks, Steve. If that was the case, you can easily tap add more and you can add the additional dates. So for that, we'll delete that. So go ahead and hit next. You'll be brought to the app and tag details, which is going to be very similar to the point details that we saw when we were going through the point flow. The only thing required on this page is the nickname. So going back to the method that we used previously, so we used the state, moose, or state, method of take, moose. You can put in the area zone unit. So for this, I'm going to put unit 1. I don't know if that's even a unit. We're not giving out units here. And
unit 0.
We'll designate yes on tag secured, no on tag purchased yet, and then obviously the app's been submitted. And then application fee for this was, we'll say $10, and then the tag fee was a whopping $250. And go ahead and tap confirm. You'll be presented with that apps and tags or the pop-up. Go ahead and close out of that. We're going to search moose. There's our tag or application for Colorado archery moose. You'll see that there are dates on the actual tile, which are basically the season dates that we input into the on this one of the previous screens. You'll see that it says that the app has been submitted, the tag has been secured, but we have not purchased that yet. And once you do purchase that, obviously go in and update it to just complete the flow again to get the most out of what HUNTwallet has to offer. Another thing worth mentioning, you'll see that the total application fees and tag and point fees have increased by $10 and $250 respectively.
I think one of the other cool things about the screen on the tiles with the dates is it kind of gives you a sanity check of, is this whole plan going to work? Am I good, or are my dates lining up like I thought they were when I was, coming up with all these different hunts, all these different tags that I want to put in for? Now that I'm going through the application process, what does this really look like? And then again, it fits in the budget, but now does it also fit in these dates that I have available to be out there?
100%. And thanks for calling that out, Steve. Another important thing about these dates and why it makes sense to put them in is because they're also tied to the calendar that you see here in the bottom right. So Again, Steve talked about sanity check. When we walk you through calendar in a subsequent video, you'll see, how things are starting to tie together and how the HUNTwallet ecosystem really makes things pretty seamless. But in a nutshell, that's apps and tags. Again, super excited, a lot to offer there. It's saved my butt this year when I was testing it. I was out on a run, got a push notification that I had a tag due, and actually ran my butt home. And we've all been there. Well, I don't know. I'll speak for myself. I've been there. I've missed application season. Thought it was due one day and it was due another day. So we hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you found great value in it, please give us a like. If you have additional questions or feedback, drop it in the comments below. But thanks for joining us, and have a good one.